It's Mohim for Boxing Domination, and today I'm joined by the Hatchet, Jerome Hatch, joining me from Texas, USA. How you doing, champ?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Everything going right your way?
You know what? Everything's going great, thank you. The last time we spoke was right before the BYB 18 in London when you was about to fight Marco Martinjak. Result didn't really go your way. It was a very controversial defeat in many people's eyes. Do you want to tell me how you feeling about the fight and your thoughts?
I mean, the fight, it didn't, I take full responsibility at the same time because I shouldn't have let it even get to that point. But I know that not only was it stacked against me I felt like the ref wasn't giving the U.S. guys a fair shake. And from the get go, I was following his rules. They had rules meetings, before the fights, and he said if you tie up, you got 3 seconds. As soon as he would even put both hands on me, he'd break it up. He caught me, split me open, and as soon as I caught him, started pushing him back. They stopped it and wanted to check the fight or check the cut. No reason whatsoever. It wasn't interfering with my vision. Um, Also, in between the rounds, if you go back and watch it, they the ref came right back over in between rounds and took my minute to get the doctor in to check it again within a minute later. I wasn't able to talk to my coach. I wasn't able to get a drink. The cut man wasn't able to try to get the swelling down. It was like, and I'm sitting there like, what the hell am I going to get people to be able to work on me? But all in all, I don't see that it was fairly judged or not judged, but refed. I don't, I can take a pretty good punishment. A lot of people were trying to say anything about my coach. I had nothing. I was not hurt at all. That's why when everything happened, I went right to the ref and was telling him it was bullshit. I didn't go to Marco. I didn't go to anybody. It was the ref because I thought it was a bullshit call. With seconds left, and people they can sit back and they can eat their Cheetos and whatever and try to point the finger and whatever. But when they hear them snaps, that clap, 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 that means there's 10 seconds. We had an exchange. Okay. I covered up and was backing out. Marco was going back to the corner because it was going to be the end of the round. And then that's when he waved it off. There was nothing. He didn't even, if worst case scenario, they could have gave a standing eight. Second worst case scenario, if I was actually hurt, I would have took a knee. But I wasn't hurt. There was nothing that hurt me. I was watching his feet come back just to reset and get started for the third round.
So, in your opinion, you would say Clive Allison was maybe being a bit unfair and being a bit more favorable towards the BKB fighter.
He just wasn't consistent, and I feel like because it was, a few fights before he stopped the fight because the guy had his hands down and he wasn't covering up. Okay, so I keep my hands up and I'm covering up and he still stops the fight. So I'm like, what is it going to be? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be straight across, man. I'm watching these fights, like, okay, just seeing how he refs. That way I know what I'm getting myself into, already knowing that he's been calling a lot of things against the U.S. guys, that I felt was bullshit. You're in a fight, I'm not, it's not nothing, illegal. But I just felt like he was doing every little thing that he could to benefit them, which, again, I'm not playing a victim of that. Like I said, I should never have, I went in and fought his fight and I shouldn't have. My fight was what I fight the last few fights. I come in, I put the pressure and I knock motherfuckers out, and I didn't do that. I waited on him and I was, I mean, I did it to myself to let myself even get to that point, you know.
I mean, of course, it was a BKB BYB Extreme co-promote show. It was more of the UK versus US fighters. I want to sort of ask you, and I know it's a bit of a tough one to ask, but I'm gonna try and get some courage to ask you this somehow. Um, would you say maybe it was the location that was maybe the problem? Like, did you find it quite hard in terms of like the UK timing compared to the US?
It had a little bit. I couldn't get right, but again, I'm not. It's not really an excuse for me. You know what I mean? I'm there to fight. It's a little early, from the U.S. time. But like in Dubai, it was like 4 in the afternoon when I fought. It was regular time for me, but there it was 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was still trying to stay on the schedule, but irregardless, and I think a lot of it was that they, as a promotional side and with as much hype as there was for that fight, they wanted the trilogy. I think I think it was a money thing. And the bad thing is that, I mean, it fucked up my actual, undefeated record. There's a lot more at stake as me as a person and as a man than there is just for, oh, you win some, you lose some. It was like, no, man, that's just, I have no problem, dude. I've taken plenty of losses if it's right.
Yeah.
And I felt like, in my career, I've only had a couple that I didn't feel were right. And that was the worst one of it, because I did catch him and I caught him a few times. And like I said, it got broke up every time by the ref. And I felt like it was because he knew it and he was able to let him recover. But if I wouldn't have let myself get to that point where I got cut, then then it wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? So I take
Yeah.
responsibility well, but at the same time, you're not only just fighting the guy, you're fighting the refs too.
Yeah, I mean, when you're fighting abroad, especially on a different territory, it's always a very tough one. And going in, you were number one ranked by BoxRec. And I know BoxRec is, of course, not the official place for bare knuckle. I
Yeah.
think there should be a page just like BoxRec where they rank the fighters according to how it is. So they dropped you from number one to number 20, which doesn't make sense in my opinion. But I want to ask you, age 36 now. What's next for you? Do you want to go straight into the trilogy, or maybe do you want to pursue a different route?
No, I'm ready. So I have another one lined up August 26th for another title for MMA. I talked to BYB. They're saying that it's looking, fall, October, November, whenever. I'm ready. I'm ready to go right now with it. Like that's the thing that they don't understand, the animal they woke up with what just happened. And I know Mark was wanting to say, "Oh, he needs to come over and do it in the BKB." No, I just did it in your place. We did it somewhere where it was a neutral ground, and I went to your sandbox and did it. Now you come to mine. That's the way I think it should be. But he'll dodge, and he won't. He'll dodge it. He wants to do the BKB rules because he knows that in that fight he was able to do those things and get away with it to save him, and that's why he wants those rules, not the BYB, just
Do you
because he
think
knows.
maybe the sorry?
No, go ahead. He just knows. You know what I mean? He knows that I can get in on if I can get in on him, I can take him out. And with BYB, all you got or BKB, all you got to do is put two hands on you, and then it'll break you up. And that's what was happening that night in that fight.
So do you think the Trigon rules would really be a complete different ball of game for Marco's fight?
Yeah, yeah. Like it was the first time, even the second time. With his ref, they were able to stop it and slow things down. And I'm not. I'm a very fast paced person. I don't like slow. So, and like I said, I went in there and I didn't fight the fight that I usually fight. I had a lot. I mean, dude, I got a lot of personal shit kind of going on. Again, no excuse. I just found out right before that I got a little baby on the way, and there's a lot of like, it was just cool. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of things in my mind. I was just like even when he was trying to talk shit, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Like whatever you say, dude. You know what I mean? I don't care because I don't get riled up about that stuff. So, and people talk out of nerves. People talk out of things like that, and that's what it was. So it's okay. It don't bother me none at all, man.
Your first loss in bare knuckle. I know you've lost previously in MMA as well, but that's because you've had so many. Like your
Yeah.
fights are probably triple digits, or probably even like very very high. I know you set up 173 fights.
Yeah, that was my
Uh,
175th fight that night.
wow. I mean, that's unbelievable. How many years do we have left of the hatchet in bare knuckle boxing?
Oh, I mean, I got a couple years left in me. So, my boys, so I got a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. And they asked me, a couple years ago if they could corner me. Well, you got to be 18. I told them, yeah, I would. So I will, if I decide to, I got a business and everything kind of going up and going right now that I'm trying to get really launched and put forth. And so, I'm going to kind of focus on that a little bit and really, really dive in and do that. But I think I got a couple more years left in me, and then I'll pop back in and out to let my kids when they're 18 corner me. So, so I got, even if I do end up hanging it up here in a couple of years, I got two more after that. So
Unbelievable.
I got to stay true to my word, man, to my kids.
100%. Um, One of the things which I sort of realized is your eye. I know your
Yeah.
eye was pretty bruised up in the fight. How's that like right now? Is it broken? Is it?
No, everything's good with it. It's got a little redness on it, but like the stitches, who did the stitches did a shitty job over there. So I go into a plastic surgeon just because of the way they did it. They just put it in and sewed it up, and it didn't even really get very good. So, I mean, I'm all about, whatever. I mean, I know it comes with territory, but at the same time, man, I gotta take care of my moneymaker. So
100%. We got the Vin Diesel. We got the bare knuckles Vin Diesel right here.
yeah,
That's a new nickname, bare knuckles Vin Diesel.
there you go. Yeah, no, they and like, dude, the eye's fine, everything's fine, man. I got everything looked at. I wasn't worried about it. Getting back to the heat in Texas, man, it was for the swelling, it was pretty bad. Try to because the heat brings the swelling back out. So I'd get it all calmed down. I go to my kid's baseball game and start swelling up again. I'm like, damn. But I got it down, eventually, and it was good. It took a few days. So, and then whenever you fly, you retain a lot of water anyway. So, but man, I mean, everything's good. I was right back, working with my coach and just trying to make things work, man. So,
And when it comes to your training preparations, what are some of the things that you've done differently for this rematch compared to the first fight?
um,
Or were they like the same?
they were actually very similar. In the back when we got there, in the back of the getting ready, I wasn't able to get ready. There was a lot of things going on back there. It was just I didn't really. I had it. Then they switched the card around a little bit. So I was like, okay, where are we at? Where are we at? And then all of a sudden we had two. Hell, I was still putting my shoes on. We had two fights left, and those last two fights went quick. So I was like, oh shit. So I wasn't able to get warm, but like I said, man, it it's all good, dude. I still should have went out there and implemented what I was going to do, and I didn't do that. So, and I guess, the repercussions is I get that loss, and it really sucks because I really don't think that even at that time, if the rules would have been, if the ref would have let us fight, I would have got him, and I really do. So because I have that power, yeah, yeah, he hit me a few different times, and a lot more, and he's coming down, he's firing down, he's at an advantage point, he's taller, but I have that power, and every time I hit him, it stunned him, and
Yeah,
but every time I do it and try to get him back, they would stop it. So have no idea, like I said, I'm not into like what's fair, I'm really not. It's to me, it's what's right, and I don't think that ref was at all. Like that's why I even told Marco, I said, hey man, fuck it, you know what I mean, good job, whatever, it's bullshit. But I want the rematch, and he was saying, well, yeah, we need to have a couple fights for him. No bullshit, I gave you one right away. You're gonna give me one right away.
is there
So
like a rematch clause, or are we going to speak
no,
to the
he
promoters?
got one right away. His first one was right away. He got it. So yeah,
I
but
think
they're
it makes
working.
sense to do it again
Yeah,
next
they're
time.
working on it. And it's a moneymaker. You know what I mean? They start talking about a trilogy. It's a moneymaker, brings the thing, and I think that also had a lot to do with it as well. So,
And
but
I
they don't.
think
They took my title. That was mine. And that's what they don't get. They to me they fucked a guy out of his hard work and his preparation, all because they felt that okay, well, okay, maybe USA we won the Ryder Cup. the first ever, but they got the 2 Police Gazette belts. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It wasn't for that. Like, yeah, they to me, they just wanted something that they could hang a hat on. And I think that, when you deliberately don't do your job like you're trained to do or you're supposed to do, and you do it to benefit somebody else, that's not right.
Yeah, and that's something we will speak to. Well, I will speak to as a reporter to both BKB and BYB Extreme promoters this month about this fight. And one thing I'm going to request the promoters, Jim Freeman, Joe Brown, and of course Dada 5000, who I've interviewed previously, and hopefully with the other chairman of BYB Extreme, I want to see a special belt for this fight. I want to see either the BMF title or the Diamond title.
Yeah.
I think it's deserved.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously it'll be for the diamond, but I definitely do think that, even Scott, talked to him about doing something that, I mean, I don't know how many trilogy fights they have or they have had. That's something maybe I can talk to them and say, hey, do something special for it. So because I'm telling you, I will walk away with it. It will be mine, and that's why he wanted another fight. That way he could try to get his medallion as he defended it, because he knows he ain't gonna be able to defend it again.
And in terms of the press conference got very brutal. I mean, there was a lot of words coming from Marco. There was a lot of trading words between you and Marco. You seem to be the slightly more calmer one, but Marco is a bit more agitated. Marco Martinjak, of course. What was your thoughts on the whole press conference? Do you think?
I laughed about it because you know all I'm gonna say is like, what, he had the ref help him beat me and call it off. I mean, he fucking made my highlight reel. You know what I mean? Like, it's all good, and that's where he was just embarrassed. And I get it, you know, but he wants to say it was lucky. He wants to say it's not luck. His hand was up. He was trying to measure. I come over the top. I caught him. He can get wild. He can get loud, and people do that when they're unsure of themselves, and that's what he was doing. And like I said, it, I laugh at people like that. People do that all the time. I see them all the time do it, and I'm very calm. It's like, whatever, man. We'll let it speak. We'll let it speak. So you say what you want. You want to be disrespectful. You want to be a prick. You want to be arrogant. Whatever it may be. It's a sport. If you want to be an asshole and you want to be that person, then cool. Then we'll
And,
take it up then.
and of course, there's other fighters in the weight division as well, but in different organizations. You have fighters like Houston Alexander, who's 51 now. He recently beat Jeremy the Pitbull Smith, of course, in a different organization at the BKFC. Um, if you do get through the trilogy, and I don't want you to look past Marco yet, but if you do get past him, what's like your dream fight for like next year if you were to like go for like a history maker fight after this trilogy? Would it be
Man,
like someone like Houston who's been in the game for so long, UFC, etc., etc.?
dude, honestly, man, I don't care, man. Whoever they line up, man, I don't, because Mel is a very good matchmaker, and he knows what he's doing. And the thing that I like about him is he makes it a very good bout, regardless of what it is. He don't try to pad people. A lot of people will pad people these days to try to get their records up to where they get the exposure from other things. There are people that have made their name in the UFC and other organizations. But as far as, dude, I don't care who they are. I don't care how big they are. I don't care what kind of name they have. It's always nice to knock down a name. It is. But in that realm, a lot of people take down the names when the names are on their way out. So it's like, oh, I beat this guy. Well, yeah, but you beat him not at his peak. So you can't really say you beat him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's right. Everybody has their time. And and a lot of people say that the bare knuckle is where the UFC or MMA guys go to die. It's like their last little thing. I've heard that many times. And but that but a lot of people, they don't give them guys the fair shake either. So I said, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care who they line up. Um, I just know that I'm going to focus on, Marco, and I'm going to bring that one back. And then when the next one they line up, I'll focus on that one and knock that one down too, and start making a little bit of money and hang my name on a good plaque and be ready to fucking hang it up when I decide to here in a couple of years.
And of
So
course, of course, there's some very good fighters as well. Just a quick brief one, like Leo Pla, who's also in the division, I believe, our cruiserweight from BYB. Simon Segwinski, who fought on the same card as
yeah.
you. I think he lost the fight, but of course, it was a great card the way it remained. But I want to ask you, what's your experience been like in London, other than just the fight itself?
So man, dude, London was cool. I hadn't even made a post about it. I didn't realize I didn't make a post about it, man. Because dude, when I got back, man, it's been kids of sports and he was like, hey, let's burn up to Utah, man. Let's take a load, let's go. So we hauled ass, took the kids. Like I said, we come up here to spend some time. I got a girl or I got a little baby on the way. Um, and so I was like, let's just go, man. Let's hit the road, So we hit the road and it's just been go, go, go. And I need to post about it because dude, the architecture and the old, like the history is incredible. We went to, I'll be honest with you, the London Bridge, man, I wasn't impressed with that. I was like, oh, I was like, where's London Bridge? Like, oh, you're on it. I'm like, huh? Okay, cool. All right, man. Like, whatever. Hey, I take it in, right? I still appreciate it. But then we walked down to that one that's right down the road from it. That was
Tower
pretty
Bridge.
cool. Yes, yeah. So that one's pretty cool, but it's of course it's like that's the American us, right? Like, oh, all this big fancy shit, blah blah. But I liked down like where old Big Ben was or whatever, the clock. Like that was cool. All that the old history right there. The statues and stuff in the park. Incredible. It was cool. Me and my coach was able to do that and hang out. And, yes, dude, it was cool. I was able to do a little more there than I was in Dubai, just because I made it a point to go and do that.
How many days were you in London?
I think I got in Tuesday. I believe I got in Tuesday. Yeah, so I was only
Nice.
there a few days.
Oh, nice. You should have
Yeah.
visited Regent's Park, Hyde Park, and even the Kyoto Garden in Holland Park.
Okay.
Those are like beautiful. I mean, I'll show you straight after the interview. But yeah, London Bridge, guys, is honestly the worst bridge out there. The worst bridge. I used to think Tower Bridge was London Bridge.
Yeah, that's what we thought. And then it was like, oh no, you're on London Bridge. I'm like, okay, cool, all right.
Anyway,
Um,
guys, that's an interview wrapped with the Hatchet Jerome Hatch. Jerome, before we go, as always, I always like to ask the fighters, would you like to say anything to your sponsors or anyone as a shout out?
yeah. To everybody that watched and everybody that's seen the fight, I thank you guys for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. I didn't need to post anything about it. Everybody's seen the exact same thing. It was very controversial. And you know what? If Marco's okay with winning that way, then that just shows you the type of person he is. But I do appreciate the consistent support. And I love all you guys and even you, man, for being able to put these podcasts out there and to get our names out there and give us a chance to talk to people. And they see how we are, as human beings. I want to thank my kids. They really push me and do big things, man. Hopefully I'll be able to take them next time. My coach, he drops everything to make sure that I'm prepared. Um, Heart is good as gold, man. Sponsors. I got Death or Glory tattoos. I got Sign Guys, which I'm actually wearing their stuff. No Excuse pre-workout. I'm telling you guys, that's the cat's meow. That's great. Rockwell watches, man, dude. Rockwell, they're always doing big deals too. So any of those things, man, you got the Hatchet 20, different codes, promo codes. Hit me up for them. Follow my pages on all socials, whether it's Instagram, Facebook at the Hatchet MMA or YouTube, that Hatch Magic. And I'm just starting that up. And I'm going to actually go into a lot of fights and break them down of my mentality going through those things, and start doing things like that. And we're going to try to make, try to change it to where everybody can understand what's going on with the sport. And man, I thank you and everybody that makes this happen. BYB, BKB, all the fighters. I thank everybody for making it all possible.
And also, congratulations on your new upcoming daughter. Daughter's always a blessing. And
No, little boy. It's a little boy now.
oh, it's a little boy. That's even better.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah, I'm
one.
4 for 4 on that one now. So yeah. Yeah, 4 for 4 on the boys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.